All right. Welcome to Kilgallon's Pub, the podcast where I, comedian Joe Kilgallon, like to sit back, have some drinks with people, and recreate that bar conversation we all know and love. Follow the podcast on Instagram at Kilgallon's Pub. Follow me there at Joe Kilgallon. Also on Twitter as well. Facebook, give us a like there. You guys have been awesome. Big thanks to everyone who's been listening. Sorry this podcast is coming out late this week. I'll give you the good reason why. Essentially was no spoilers, although we were not yet at least. I binge watched Game of Thrones. I watched like 73 episodes in 2 weeks, which is a difficult task given the fact that I have a now 1 month old. Today Dylan turned 1 month and a 2-year-old son. So what would happen a lot of times? I'll get to that later. But I watched so much of it that things got backed up. And then I couldn't get it out when I needed to. So that's on me. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for we got the Patreon is up. We got a couple people checking it out there. So thank you to those people. You guys are great. And if you guys want to subscribe, I got all sorts of bonus content up there already, and more is going to be coming out. James Webb, my producer. Say what's up, James? What up, dude? We are working on my album/special.
Yes, we are.
It's going to be out sometime in June is the goal, maybe the third week. Don't have an exact date yet, but that will be coming in the upcoming days. We'll make that announcement. And for the Patreon subscribers, if you're in like the top tier, which I'm calling the mixed drink tier, we got 2 tiers, the draft beer tier and the mixed drink tier. Okay. You will get an automatic free download to the album.
How about that?
How about that shit before it even comes out?
That's pretty good.
Feel free to leak it.
Throwing out deals.
Right? And the man you're hearing right here, I'm very excited to have on the podcast for a couple reasons. Number one, I've known this dude for a long time. Kind of didn't see each other for a while there. Yeah. Up and coming comedian in Chicago. Tito Jorda-Cid, man.
What's
good?
Up, dude? What's good? How you doing, Joe?
I'm great, man. And this guy, everybody, this is gonna be fun for me. So, I like a little nostalgia, relive some glory days.
Hell yeah.
We went to the same high school. You were a year ahead of me.
Yep.
And you were notorious throughout the whole high school of having the best parties.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Everyone was like, "You going to Tito's party?"
Yeah.
Tito's party. Like Tito's parties were the parties. And as someone who was a year younger.
Oh, it must have been so cool.
I went to one as a sophomore when he was a junior, and that was, I remember all the other sophomores were like, dude,
it was a rite of passage. It was a rite of passage. Like, if you came to my house and you were like a sophomore, people were like, dang, how'd you get there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was gnarly, man.
Because when you were a junior, not to cut you off, seniors would go to your party.
Yep.
So you would like seniors going to a junior's party, and then very few sophomores. But then by senior year, you were cool with most of the juniors.
Everybody.
Not, they were cool enough.
And because I was in sports, so I was good friends with kids of other years. You know, Damien and like all those kids.
Damien's a good dude.
Yeah, very good dude. Also had his second child just now.
Oh, congrats to Damien.
And anyways, like we just ran the gamut. I had a very cool mom. Love my madre. She allowed us to party at the crib, and as long as we were able to eat and we were able to maintain our grades and do our sports, she was just like, kind of do your thing.
I don't remember her ever being there.
No, she was there though.
She
was in her room the whole time.
Because
you reading a Bible or something. I don't know.
There'd be like 100 people in that basement.
Yeah.
This is like, for those of you around the country, a typical Chicago bungalow, right?
Yeah, it's a Chicago
good sized basements, though.
Very good. We probably fit 40 people kind of comfortably down there.
Yeah, but I remember sometimes where I'm like, this is wall to wall.
Yeah.
We're asses to
my
ankles.
New Year's parties I had too. My junior, senior year. The senior year one I think was legend. That one followed me till like my senior year of college when like kids' little brothers or sisters that went to my school were like, you're Tito, the kid from that New Year's party. And I was like, word. Yeah, I was a DJ too, so like, what you imagine, like you go into a basement, and I ended up stealing a carpet from Union Station when I picked up my sister one day, and I had my mom's truck, and they're setting up for New Year's for a Christmas thing, and I just like get out, and I'm trying to figure out where she's at, and I go and I see that they're installing carpet, like this big blue carpet. So I ended up pretending I was one of the workers, and I folded up a bunch of carpet and I stuck it in my mom's truck, and it fit my floor in the basement perfectly.
Oh man,
perfectly. It was awesome. Everything
That's
about that.
That's a ballsy move.
Yeah,
because Union Station's the biggest train station in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, I didn't give a fuck.
Were the other? Let me ask you that. You clearly did not give a fuck. Jesus. Were the other workers Hispanic? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm like, is that a move I could have pulled off?
I had like this black White Sox looking jacket and a hat, a fitted, whatever, and I just went down there and I saw it and I was like, fuck it, take it.
Most criminals are White Sox fans. So
and I took it. I don't know if you remember that part. We had a blue floor and blue lights.
No, I remember the DJ setup.
Yeah, the DJ was in the back where I would spin.
I remember it was like a lot of hip hop, but every now and then someone would get like a Linkin Park song out.
Yeah, because I would fuck up, man. I would get real drunk. I would leave like a turntable on with like a record on repeat or something, or like a CD, and I would just kind of like go drink, hang out, and then come back later.
Yeah, those were good days.
Yeah.
I remember that being in the backyard.
My
and
mom still
there
throws
was never
parties
really
there.
fights. There was never any fights.
No, there was one fight with one guy. I won't say who it is, but he got really drunk. He just started punching some dude because he looked at him funny.
Why can't we say who it is? You think they'd be listening? Maybe do you still talk to him?
No, but
No, we
I
don't
don't
need to
know.
say
It's just another
Afterwards,
dude from,
let me know because I'm curious now.
We actually had a gang fight break out. Wait.
I do remember cops coming to. Here's the thing. I was usually pretty fucked up. So
Yeah.
maybe when I say there weren't any fights, I meant I didn't get into any fights.
Yeah, you said that. I'm like, yeah. No, then I'm thinking, holy wait.
There's a lot of fights.
No, dude, we ended up having a gang thing start out in my basement because one dude didn't like the music and he kept being loud. We told him to shut up. And then he started throwing things and we kicked him out. And the next thing you know, he drove by my house a few times and then came out with some bats and started breaking my windows.
See, no, I wasn't at that
Yeah,
party.
yeah. I think his name
I
was
would remember
Elmo.
that.
I think
His name was
was
Elmo?
Elmo, dude.
You
I
can't
think
be a
his name
dick
was
with the name Elmo.
He was a little nothing dickhead, but like my friends, like we were standing out in the stairs in the morning or whatever, and like this car just kept driving by with his lights off. I'm like, man, this is too much. Yeah.
I remember a party in high school that my friends threw. This wasn't different neighborhood than yours, but cars were circling like that, and we thought it was something similar.
Yeah.
But instead, and there was a bunch of us like out in front, guys and girls. So then the car slowed up, and girls got out and started fighting the girls we knew.
Hell yeah.
It was the craziest shit.
Hell yeah.
It was one of those fights that whenever there
Hell
are.
yeah. When chicks get out and start stomping bitches, the greatest feeling in the world.
No, dude, I'm the opposite, man. I am the opposite. I hate watching girls fight because they pull hair.
Yeah, I love it.
And I know that sucks.
I'm just like,
One time I saw boobs come up, and I was like, this is nice.
I don't even watch it for that. I'm like, if one of them just knew how to throw a quick one, I mean, this fight would be over in a second.
The ones they know how to throw quick ones are MMA fighters.
That's true. They
usually.
don't fight.
No, I mean, I don't know. Look, that's not even sexist. It's just experience. Most people
yeah.
learn how to fight from experience, and women don't grow up getting punched in the face randomly by
Nah,
people.
you
Like
don't.
guys, you do. Oh, you
No.
run your mouth, you get popped, and then you're like, well, I don't want to get popped again, so I got to learn how to defend that. And that's how that works.
we had some dudes from Holy Cross. Remember Holy Cross that was
Yeah.
down? Some dudes from Holy Cross got mad at some Pats guys and came to my house all in a truck. And then
We went to St. Pat's for high school. That's what
yeah,
it means by Pat's
yeah.
guys.
And then one of our dudes grabbed one of their dudes and dragged them off the truck and started hitting them in the alley. And that created a thing where like some of my like I was a junior or senior, I don't know, but some of the older dudes had to come and like because they knew the Holy Cross kids and call them out. And this one dude wanted to kill me, man.
You yank someone off a truck. I mean,
Dude. What
Also, don't talk shit from a moving truck,
Yeah,
dude.
don't show up to my motherfucking house in a truck like it's a goddamn like Southern rally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna throw you on the motherfucking ground, dude.
I love that. I remember in grade school, a dude was on the back. He was on someone's pegs. Remember those GT Dyno
Yeah,
freestyle bikes?
baby.
You probably had one, right?
Absolutely.
Those
I
are
did.
fun bikes where you could like spin the handlebars
Fuck
around
yeah.
or like, you know.
little BMX.
Yeah, BMX bikes, freestyle bikes. Those
Yeah.
were cool. And they had the pegs, and this one kid was talking shit from on the pegs. And I'll never forget my one friend literally just
Wow,
grabbed him by
damn.
the shirt. He said he did. My buddy Chris, I think. He said he didn't even use any like muscle. He just held him.
Yeah.
Because the bike did the
Yeah,
work.
just
Yeah,
moves.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? What's that like fighting style? Is it jiu-jitsu? When you let the other person do the move, like you just put your hand there and then they fucking hurt themselves.
Wing
essentially.
Aikido.
Yeah, Aikido. There's one where, like,
Hapkido.
They grab your hand. I remember this one guy showing me a couple of moves where he's like, no, he grabbed my hand. And he's like, try to move, and I moved, and then he like made it hurt even more. He's
Yeah.
like, all I'm doing is this. I'm using your movement against you. And that's all he did. He literally just put his hand on the guy's shoulder, and the kid went off the bike and like almost like a fucking power bomb off the back of a.
Dude, speaking of, we had one teacher my freshman year at Pat's, Salturo, I forget his name, but he was a Aikido dude, and he was of all peace, but he would like to start class, he'd be like, "Come at me, bro." He'd be like, "Yeah, this is what happens when you go to like a private all boys school, especially that parents don't give a fuck." And he's like, "Yo, I'm about to show you how to use your energy," and we were like, "Cool." Chokehold.
That was the difference too. I remember I went to a Chicago public grade school and then going to an all-guys Catholic high school. It was
me
like
too.
same thing, right? It was a little bit of a culture shock where you're like, the teacher just threw a fucking tennis ball at me. What the hell is this?
Yeah, I remember when one of the teachers, I forget his name, but he was the football coach with the horn. Coach.
Oh, Coach Seibel.
Seibel.
I remember him because he was in a video game. He was Nebraska's kicker.
Yeah.
And was in like a Nintendo college
he had
football
that
game.
ring like he was a badass.
Yeah, he had the
that
Orange
fucking
Bowl ring. Like the Rose Bowl,
And I
one of
was like,
those.
bro, you a kid. He anyway. I remember him to the rest of my days because he ended up dragging one of the swimmers down 3 flights of stairs.
Jesus
He
Christ.
dragged him 3 flights of stairs, whooped his ass, and threw him in the dean's office. And the dean's like, "What'd he do?"
Yeah.
Yeah, dean's like, "What'd he do?" He's like, "He's being a fucking asshole." I was like, "Yeah, that's
You know, there was a stabbing at our school recently.
what?"
Yeah, it was my high school I went to. There was a stabbing. I think it was on Friday.
Nice.
I saw the people sharing the link on Facebook and stuff, and then that little neighborhood paper talked about it. The thing is, like, someone joked saying the stabbing was because the guy spoiled Game of Thrones or something like that.
Well deserved.
Which we're gonna get
Well
to.
deserved.
We're gonna talk about Game of. For those of you listening who don't follow Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
I will announce. All right, now we're gonna talk about Game of Thrones. So then you could turn off the podcast, but we're gonna have some fun for the next like 20, 30 minutes
Yeah.
before then, and talk some TV stuff overall.
Let's kick it.
But yeah, dude, you ever had that though? I look back thinking, oh man, it'd be so cool to be like the kid who hosted the best parties.
Yeah.
But then it's also a lot of work. Did you ever
Man,
think,
it was terrible.
man?
It was to the point where like I would literally be in the back of somebody's car, and we'll be like at TBK or whatever.
Taco Burrito King?
Yeah. And people would be like, cars pulling up, like, "Hey, where are we going?" And someone would be like, "Yo, I heard Tito's throwing a party." And I'm in the back of someone's car. I'm like, "Hey, dude, I'm like right here, and I'm not throwing shit."
Yeah.
And I would go to my house, and there'd be like cars lined up. As soon as I get out of the car, dude, one time my mom threw a party for me without me being there. I was at at water polo practice. I don't know. It was the summer, and then I get home and there's 40 kids in my basement. And I was
like a
like,
surprise
what the
party?
No, dude, they just showed up. They just figured I would have something, and my mom just let them in and told them you could turn on the turntable.
Oh, you've got one of those sweet moms that's like, have
She's
fun.
insane.
As long as
She's
everyone's safe and in
insane.
my house, right?
Yeah, dude, I was dead tired. And a lot of the times, people don't realize, a lot of the times my parties, I would only stay till like 11:30 midnight, and then I would dip because I was swimming so much, and partying just took a lot out of you.
It did,
And
yeah.
I would just pass out, and I would wake up, and there's somebody would be in the basement still like passed out, smoking or whatever. I'm like, just here are the trash bags, bro, and I would just go back to practice. So.
Yeah, I don't understand. All the swimmers partied pretty hard.
Yeah, we did.
Paul Ridgway party hard?
He partied enough, but he was always fairly.
Because he went to Texas on a scholarship for swimming, right?
Yeah,
he was a great swimmer.
He was a boss. He was
Yeah.
his little brother was a bigger boss. His little brother has more records at Pats than he does now.
Wow. Who knew?
Yeah. But Paul was a machine. He would maintain and then go off the Richter. Like he was.
So who are your like best now we're just naming people that no
Nah.
one in the podcast knows. I was just trying to recap in my brain who hung out with who, but don't worry about that.
Nah.
So I remember throwing a little. It wasn't even a party compared to
Yeah.
what your parties, but I had like 20 people in my basement. And here's how dumb my friends were. I told them to come through the back basement door. Half of them came through the front door. And all of a sudden they're coming in down the basement stairs.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
dad was
yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it was like a sneak party. I was like,
Oh,
I'm going to have a
God.
few people downstairs to play video games. I thought it'd be like 12 to 15 people. Ended up being maybe 20 or so people. So I was like, you fucking idiots.
Nah, dude.
And
it was
they had to
chaotic.
take they took their shoes off naturally, which growing up in my household, we always kept our shoes on.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, now I have to go out. Now I'm just going to go up and grab your shoes so I can sneak you guys out the back. It was like a whole thing. And I remember at the end when everyone left, I was cleaning up, and my dad came downstairs and saw me cleaning up the beers, and he like walked by, and all he said was, party at someone else's house. You don't have to clean up after.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I didn't get in trouble. Nice. But also good advice. You
Mhm.
don't have to clean up after.
There you go.
How was it? Did you ever make people? You had to make people stay and clean up.
You know
You
what?
should
A lot
have.
of
If
people
you
were
didn't,
dope.
you're too nice.
Do you ever remember Tim Hawkins?
Yeah.
Tim Hawkins was my guy. He was one of my best friends in college that wasn't in swimmer. Just a cool cat.
Yeah, I was friends with his brother.
Yeah.
Kevin. Yeah.
Anyways,
And they're both cops now. I know Tim is for sure because Tim actually
Tim was raised
comedian
for that
softball game. Well, yeah, their dad is. Their dad was
Yeah.
my baseball coach too. I
That
love their
got me
dad.
out of
Great
so
guy.
much shit.
I love
That got
I
me
love
out of
Mr.
so
Hawkins.
much shit.
He would drink Miller High Life at the park during our baseball
Yeah.
game. Good dude. And there's a comedian softball game on Memorial Day, which is coming up again. That Joe Fernandez, who's been on the podcast,
Nice.
throws everyone. And if you're not from around the country, softball is just like baseball with a bigger ball, and you could get drunk while doing
Yeah, I
it.
was gonna say you just
Yeah,
drink.
real simple. I
Yeah.
got some listeners from around the country, so I want to clue them in.
All right.
And I have just moved back to Chicago, and I said, next time the cops come, because the cops came once before,
Right.
I'll talk to them. I probably know them. And then it was Tim Hawkins. And I walked up, and
Duh.
the only reason we did have to move location was because we were planning at a grade school, and the principal called multiple times. So he was like, look, if they call multiple times, it's on record.
Yeah.
I can't just be like, fuck off to a principal.
Well, Tim, man, yeah, I'm glad he's doing good. He always had like 5 jobs. He was like a Jamaican with that shit. I swear to God, that guy, he cleaned carpets, he walked dogs, he mowed lawns. He was one of the hardest working dudes. Every time I threw a party, that dude would always find a way to clean up.
So he was a good guy like that.
He was
Yeah.
always, he would be hammered. He'd be shit canned, and he would either find a way to clean up at that moment or come in the morning and keep drinking, because he sometimes like the Lucy's or whatever that we'd find. He would drink those, he would clean up, and he would just call it a day.
Wait, was he drinking half-full beers
Yeah,
that he
sometimes.
found? Ah, that's a little
He
dangerous.
we were
He had herpes
16,
doing that.
17. Everybody's got herpes, bro.
I don't know. You're like, dude, it's not a big deal. It's herpes. There's no cure for it, but you got it, right?
It's just thing.
Well, mouth herpes, don't they say most people have, like a cold sore or
Yeah.
something?
Dude, if you've shared weed with anyone in the last 10 years, you have herpes.
Yeah.
It's like, except me.
Yeah.
I don't have herpes. That's disgusting.
We all
man.
probably have HPV too. So
HPV, everybody
sure.
has. Everybody has
yeah, this
HPV.
guy's like, oh, dude.
For sure. I flaunt it hard, baby.
yeah.
HPV is weird because they say men are the carriers.
Sure.
Yeah.
But how do men get it? They just have it?
Well, we
Fucking God.
don't show symptoms because
Yeah, we
we
don't
don't have
affect
a
us.
cervix.
That's just humanity. That's just like evolution doing its thing.
Yeah.
It's just letting us pick who gets it.
Yeah, who gets to live and die?
the delivers of cancer.
Who we get to
Yeah.
be gross with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, it was a wild time, my dude. I got so many stories. Dude, I threw a 3-day party for my 18th birthday in the summer, and I made so much money. And there was another gang fight, and I ended up.
You get kegs and then charge like
yeah,
$5 a head.
yeah, it was $5. My birthday was 10. It was
People who did that in high school, those were the first entrepreneurs because you
Yeah.
could clean up
Yeah.
off of that.
I made $2,000. I made $2,000 that weekend. Some other neighborhood kids were mad and starting shit with me, and they was waiting for me outside my house. So what I did is that I bought a ticket to Orlando, and I went to Disney World.
You treated yourself to Disney.
Yeah, because
God.
my family was going there, and I knew it, but I had no plans on visiting them. But like the shit was so hot on my block, and in this Polish quiet neighborhood too.
Yeah, it's Polish/Hispanic though.
Yeah,
Not Hispanic,
yeah.
there, but definitely more Polish.
I went to Orlando for like a week. My sister was like, how'd you get all this money? I was like, shut up, don't ask no questions.
That's like the start of a movie. I got to get out of Dodge. The gangs are a lot of
Yeah.
heat. I got a lot of heat on the block.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to
man.
Disney World.
I didn't trust that shit, man. They were really mad at me. They always blame me. When gangs would get out and fight, because I was just the guy with the house, man. I started a race war by accident. Listen,
Dude, honestly, his house was like if you're one of the people who throws a lot of parties, and there was a few kids. You weren't the only
Yeah.
one in high school. There was always
Yeah,
a few
yeah,
people
yeah,
like this dude has parties, this dude has parties, and it would kind of rotate, you know.
Yeah.
If you're that person, it does become like a hub of
Yup.
like different people come in and different girls. It's usually fucking high school dudes are fucking assholes who fight
Yeah.
over women. Where it's like,
But
oh, I liked her, now you like him. Now fuck that
that was
guy. And
the
it's back and
least
forth.
of it. I'm telling you, like we had little neighborhood cliques that went to Steinmetz, Prosser, and all these other schools, and they would like filter into my house, and they had some beefs, and then they would go off. And then I remember one time there was a basketball game in the alley between like these Polish kids and these like Puerto Rican and black kids from two different areas. Anyways, they blamed me for a fight that started between a Polish kid and the black kid, and the black kids got arrested. And so, like, there was 40 dudes on my block, half Polish, half hood, of mix of all things. And it was going down. Like, one Polish dude took out the club. You remember the club that you used to put on your car?
Yeah.
Like, he fucking lowered his window. He took out the club, split it like he's a goddamn ninja.
Here's a
and
fun
went
fact.
after, like, one of the kids with it. And then they all blame me. Both sides blame me, bro.
Well, it's not like you were arming them with clubs.
I didn't do shit. I was just like, I think that guy was the one that might have taken your money because he looked funny.
Yeah.
That was all I said. I shouldn't have said it. The black kids all got arrested. None of the white kids did. And those black kids.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Those kids were
Who's heard
at
of
my
that?
door. They were at my door the next day waiting with sticks in hand and shit. And it just so happened that I missed a bus. And by the
Wait,
time
Sticks, the club. I mean, this was
Yeah.
2003. People had guns then. back then.
this
didn't
was
they?
2002.
2002. Okay.
Right before you see it.
Dude,
And
where?
like my neighbor came out and he was like, dude,
Just-
those
just down
black kids
Belmont
were
from here?
all dude, this is
No.
Belmont.
West.
Where are your
Narragansett.
parents?
My dad, he died when I was 12, so my mom
Yeah, way to bring up some sensitive shit,
yeah,
man. What the fuck's wrong with you?
dickhead.
It's the bar, Joe. It's Kilgallon's pub, baby.
But like my mom, I'm the youngest of 5, and after my dad died, like my sister was nutty. She was at Lane, and I was super chill. I was on a roll. I was a great swimmer. I was a decent water polo player. I had a
Yeah.
great group of friends.
Yeah, I remember you being on a roll, actually.
Yeah, I was just like a good kid, and then my mom was just a trade-off. I was like, I kind of want to drink and party and be a DJ, and she's like, cool, bring everyone here. That way I know everyone's okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like
To
the
this
cool mom
day,
that gets made fun of in movies. She
Yeah.
legit was the cool mom, but cool, and
Yeah.
you
That
don't make fun
fucking
of her.
rules.
She
dog.
ordered pizza at New Year's. She always made sure we have food.
My buddy's dad was like that.
Yeah,
Duffy.
she was super cool.
His dad was
Nah,
cool as
yeah.
hell.
She's one of those like, yeah, if you're gonna do it here so I can
Yeah,
make sure
monitor.
you're safe
And we were
all
good
that.
kids. None of us were. I mean, the worst we did was just smoke weed in the backyard and then pee on the bushes. Everyone peed in my bushes, bro. No one peed in the bathroom, bro. The fucking bathroom was always broken.
I'm sure your mom was happy about that.
Motherfuckers were always outside just peeing, and there was girls and dudes. It was fucking wild, dude.
The
Fucking
girls
wild.
weren't. I don't remember girls squatting and peeing.
Dude, there was a lot of popping squats, man. It was funny because you would hear the fucking like, yeah, that gigantic, and then you just see the water from like two different things in the alley. I'm just like, you gross.
I remember my it was in my junior year. It was your New Year's Eve party you had that year, where it was just a wild party. It was really fun. I just started talking to my now wife. We weren't like boyfriend girlfriend yet, but we were talking to each other. And I had written her. She was taking like it was before cell phones.
You're welcome.
It was before. Yeah, right.
You're
She
welcome.
wasn't there though. She wasn't there though. A few people. We were going to try to meet up though. She was going to one party. I was going to your
Alright.
party, and we were going to try to meet up. And I wrote down her cell phone number, because I didn't have a cell phone. So I was like, I'll just borrow one of
I
my
didn't have a
friends.
cell phone.
A lot of
either.
people didn't have.
No, what the fuck?
A few people, very few people had them
yeah.
back then. I think she was borrowing her mom's even. And I put it in my pocket, but then I changed later and didn't switch my shit from one pocket to the next. So I didn't have the number on me, so I never called her, right? And the
Brutal.
next day I had to call her and be like, hey, sorry I didn't call you. I left the number on the one thing, which was actually a legit excuse back
Legit
then.
way, yeah.
People were like, oh, yeah, shit, that happens, But I remember, though, talking to her and being like, what happened at your party? And she's like, oh, I fell down the stairs at the party she was at. I'm okay, though. And because we were talking about how drunk we were. And I go, get the hell out of here. I fell down the stairs, too. It's almost like we were at different parties, but both falling downstairs. Funny thing about your party was when I fell down the stairs, I had a cup of beer in my hand, and I remember it like nothing really spilled. I maintained the beer. When I landed at the base of the stairs, and these were like
These are
hard,
steep. These are
steep basement stairs.
Sure.
I then look up. I get up and I look up at the top of the stairs to see if anyone was behind me because they would have been laughing their ass off.
Right,
Nobody
right.
was there, so I'm like, I'm in the clear. I then look in front of me. I just see the top of a girl's head. And then she looks up, and it was my ex-girlfriend. She saw the whole thing, was laughing her ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my
Yeah.
ex-girlfriend. It was just like,
Right?
I know.
Dude, so many people fell down that goddamn staircase.
Yeah.
Because it was already very, like, steep, and then we put carpet on it, because fuck it. And so, like,
well, carpet's safe. You have to have it tight, though.
Dude,
It can't be like a loose rug.
Yeah.
there wasn't even, like, a real rail or nothing. You just kind of on your own. And so motherfuckers would eat it. They would just eat it. It got to the point where we would cheer. We would just cheer like someone would go face first.
It was inevitable every time.
Yeah, we just waited for it.
That's
it was
great. Should have put a camera up there.
Oh man, if one girl ate it hard,
Well,
her head dented the drywall. It left a dent.
Ah, fuck.
And I'm like, you all right? She's like, yeah. We're like,
Yeah. You always have to do that brief. Are you okay?
Yeah.
James Danino says Joe M. Kilgallon was a goody two shoes growing up. Don't let him fool you.
Fuck, well, Jimmy doesn't know shit. Okay, I'm not calling you James Danino. You're Jimmy Danino. That we're on Facebook Live, everybody. We do most of the podcast live on Facebook. Might switch over to YouTube. Who knows? But thanks for listening, Jimmy Danino. And I don't know if his brother was at a lot of those parties. I had to bail his brother out of some stuff, not jail-wise, though. So maybe I was a goody two-shoes in that sense. I did have a curfew, and I remember running home, like I said, from one of yours, just so I could get home on time.
A lot of people had
3 minutes
curfew.
late.
A lot of people, because I mean,
Some kids didn't, though.
You
and I
figure
remember
out,
being
like,
what the
we
fuck?
were still like 17, 18 with curfews and good parents, two of them,
Yeah.
right, normally. And everybody was a fairly normal kid. Like, I went to a grammar school that was hood as shit, so we had some wild ones.
Yeah.
And then I had like a culture shock going to St. Pat's. This is the first time I had class with more than like 2 white people.
Well, see, my
And
grade school
for me, it was just nutty. So the whole high school experience for me was just out of control. It's out of control.
I partied way more than I thought I would in high school. Definitely. I remember I got in trouble. I got grounded once because we used to do a thing called the meeting schedule club, because at my high school, James, we had these it was called a meeting schedule where the teachers would meet at the end of the day, so every class was a little bit shorter, so we would get out at 1:30 as opposed to 2:30.
Nice.
Okay.
And when we did that, a group of 6 of us total, including me, would get 2 pizzas from Super Rosa, which is a great pizza. It's called something else now, but it's still like the same owners on Central.
Uh-huh.
And we'd get 2 pizzas and 2 cases of beer. one case of Bud Light, one case of Miller Light, because 3 of us like Miller Light, 3 of us like Bud Light.
Because you're all a bunch of classy fucks, right?
Yeah,
Because you're all a bunch of fucking.
Just a bunch of blue collar boys trying to have fun on a weekday, weekday drinking, and because my stepmom would get home from work till like 6.
All right.
So we would go from like about 2:30 to about 5:30, and then they would leave, and it was great. And then one day it was Good Friday, I think it was Good Friday. They thought, let's do some day drinking on Good Friday.
That's a good idea.
And my stepmom took a half day.
Oh no.
And I remember the door opening upstairs, but we were in the basement laughing, being loud. And my one friend's like, dude, I think I heard something. I was like, no, it's gonna be hours. And then the basement door opened, and she starts to come down, and my friend Pat had a beer in his hand and hid that one beer. And I look at him going, really? The whole coffee table was like 19 empty cans of beer. He hides the one that was already in his hand. I'm just like, dude,
you're a fucking.
And I remember her being like, and on Good Friday, and I'm like, Jesus, for him, it's not. I'm not drinking.
This is for the Lord.
It's for the homies. I poured out some Miller Lite for my JC buddy.
Christ has died. Christ has risen. Christ will drink again.
That's how that
right?
went. I'm pretty sure that's how that went. Absolutely. But yeah, man, you're the party dude. So another thing, I want to shift to this right now because it's a cultural event that happened with Game of Thrones. Everybody,
yeah, it was nuts.
Before we get into Game of Thrones, I want to talk about television in general.
Yep. Series
finales are almost impossible, right? Like, name series finales that you've liked. Tito.
Breaking Bad.
I said Tito. But I would agree with you.
I'll be honest. I kind of don't watch a lot of television. I saw Breaking Bad. That series finale, I was like, okay with it.
Really, to me, me and James
mad.
are actually, we disagree on some things, but I think me and you are in agreement that was the greatest finale of all time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because it buttoned everything.
Yeah, I felt like
it was
a good close to
Walter
it.
White made rights for his wrongs.
Jesse driving away in the car.
Jesse driving away crying or whatever.
Cry laughing.
Wasn't
he like kind of cry laughing?
Yeah, he was like,
it was hitting him because he was stuck in that thing in the ground.
He was abused.
It was crazy.
He was a slave.
Yeah, basically.
Jesse was by spoiler alert for Breaking Bad.
Yeah, fuck you. You haven't seen Breaking Bad.
No, by the way, I don't like the whole fuck you to the people who haven't seen shit yet. You just say sorry. Sorry I spoiled it for you. You move on. I've gotten into this with people lately where I'm like, we've all accepted as a society that nobody watches TV the regular way anymore. So why are we now all about, if you don't see it live, fuck you? Yeah. What is that about? What is it about if you don't see it live, fuck you? Then let's...
Dog... Look,
what do you mean, dog? Like I think I'm right on this one.
Breaking Bad. Okay,
you're just part of the whole.
No.
All right, go ahead. I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
There's an acceptable limit to how long you have to wait.
No, you can talk about Breaking Bad now. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and like The Sopranos. Like, are you really gonna tell someone like, fuck you, you can't spoil Sopranos?
No, you could talk.
I haven't watched any Sopranos ever. And I know how it ends.
Yeah,
and
me
that's
too.
not going to ruin the show.
No.
Like, wouldn't you still watch
my
it?
My buddy just got into Sopranos.
Here's the
My buddy's just started watching it like a week ago. He's like, dude, this shit is great.
It's not about the destination. It's about the journey, especially if it's been out too long.
If you like the characters.
Exactly.
I think it's different with Game of Thrones, though.
Well, because it just happened.
Well, it just happened. You have to give people some time on that one. My thing was when I was giving people a hard time on social media for you're live tweeting a scripted show.
That's weird.
That's weird to me. And then some people are like, well, what about when you said, Anthony Rizzo just hit a home run? I go, that's baseball. Sports in like award shows, the Oscars, Grammys.
Yeah, you kind of
people live tweet those. That's fine.
You're not really missing out.
No,
because you didn't see the action. You could always be like, oh, that's great that they scored. Now you go see a replay or whatever, and you don't miss out.
Very few people are like, oh, I missed the Oscars, but it's okay. I DVR'd it. I'll watch it 2 days from now.
Yeah.
No, but we've now accepted that that's how people watch television. Yeah. They don't watch it the second it comes out because people are doing shit, right? My thing, though, with Game of Thrones, and now we are going to talk a little bit more about it. So if you haven't seen it, I take no offense. Thanks. I take no offense to you turning this podcast off right now. Is that main characters died that you didn't expect. No other show does that really happen. You know what I mean? I mean, there's been a few other shows where they've killed off main people, but not in the sense that Game of Thrones did.
No, they made you love them.
Nobody was safe.
They made you love them, and as soon as they loved them, they chopped them off. If they cut their fucking head off in front of you.
Yeah, when Ned Stark got his head cut off in episode 9 of season 1, which was really a cool move by the writers in the sense that most TV shows nowadays, they'll wait for the season finale to really do something big.
Yeah,
they would do it the episode before.
Penultimate, yeah.
The episode before would be like the holy shit episode, and then the next episode sets up the next season essentially.
Dude, I remember watching that, and I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it. You know, I ain't gonna do it. what the fuck, man?
I kept thinking to myself, someone's gonna like shoot a bow and arrow and save him, or
yeah.
something's gonna like. And then when it happened, I'm like, oh no, this happened.
Yeah.
Because this is the Stark family is who you see the show through. Yes, they're they are your eyes.
They're taking you with them, man. It's such a gnarly thing. It just wrap it up. There was one series that I was very satisfied with the finale, but you guys never heard of it. It was a telenovela. It was a telenovela called Marimar in the 90s. If you're watching this, you know Marimar. That shit is great. And it ended just like you wanted it to. They fell in love. They got married. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It was the story.
Ross and Rachel got together?
Yeah, Ross and Rachel got together in this one.
Roberto and Raquel. I don't know. What's Spanish Rachel?
Raquel, I guess.
Yeah, Raquel.
Rosita?
And
I don't know. Why do I feel like me being as white as I am, whenever I say something in a Spanish accent, it's like, nah, you can't do that, buddy. That's
just stop.
Yeah, but telenovelas, man, those things end pretty well. I mean, you just want a love story at the end. I
do. Sometimes I think you give the fans what they want.
Yeah, of course. This is all that
Give them
needed to
what
be.
they want,
This
right?
is all that needed to be.
Especially a show like Game of Thrones that never really gave you what you wanted. I think it would have been okay. Well, we'll get to the finale and let's break down. Well, first let's talk Breaking Bad. To me, though, to summarize that being to me the greatest finish, and to me I think is still my number one series, dramatic series of all time. Seinfeld's my favorite comedy ever.
Okay.
Is the fact that everything got sewn up, and even Jesse in like season 2 made a joke, maybe it was season 1, saying to Walter White, "Oh, you're gonna create a robot that's gonna save us all, right?" And that's essentially what he did.
Yep.
When he had that machine gun and shoot through everybody. And what was cool is Walter White was the guy you rooted for, but then he became the villain, which is such a crazy shift. To be like, oh, this guy found out he has cancer. He's a chemistry high school teacher. Yeah, he had cancer that was like going to kill you at any minute now. They barely have bills coming by. His wife's pregnant. They have a son that's disabled. Like, you really felt for him, and you were like, no, this guy's not going to take shit anymore.
Yeah.
He's going to sell drugs, and he's going to make that money, and this is a cool concept.
That was the complaint. That was the complaint they had for Pablo Escobar in Narcos. They made you like him in the beginning. They gave you that, like, human feel with him. He ran for Congress. He wanted to represent the people. Robin Hooded him, and then whatever. And then they developed the character in the story as it kind of more or less happened. But that pissed a lot of Colombians off because they're like, he's not a good guy. He's not a good guy. I'm like, yeah, but he's
Well, they have to do that for television.
He's a dope dude.
Well, wasn't he like kind of beloved in his day?
Yeah, he's still kind of beloved.
Because like he did give money to the community.
Dude, he built soccer soccer fields for the kids and like homes for the poor, and some of those soccer fields ended up like creating some of the soccer players that went to the World Cup like 10, 15 years later. So
I
like
saw there's that
connection.
one 30 for 30
the
about
Escobar.
it. The Escobar brothers.
Yeah, that
the
was
two
crazy.
Escobars it's called.
Yeah. And so like that's the problem is like a lot of Colombians are still reeling from that pain, but they Walter Whited him, you know, They, like really drew you in. They're like, man, I really kind of want this motherfucker to win.
Yeah,
you know? Like why? It's terrible. But,
I still kind of stayed Team Walt throughout, and a lot of people are like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, I just feel like he's gonna do the right thing eventually.
I never liked him.
No,
dude, he was a terrible businessman, terrible drug dealer. He just wanted to muscle his way through. What's the name of the bad dude? The Pollo guy.
Oh, the
Gus Fringe was a man. Gus Fringe was the absolute man.
Yeah.
And I felt like Walter just wanted to muscle his way through, and I just didn't like him, but I liked the story and how they made him and Jesse kind of like partner, and that was great. I liked the drama, but as a character, I was like, yeah, fuck this guy.
I see that, though, but you know, when I watch a show like this, I know Gus didn't rise to power by being a sweetheart either. These guys take. So when Walter was like, "Listen, I'm the fucking brains. I'm eventually gonna fuck you up."
Yeah.
And he always did it in a way where it's like, "This was the last resort." And then eventually you're like, "No, you like this. You get off on this." And that's why in the final episode with him and his wife, when he was about to say, "I just want you to know I did this," and then he said, "For me."
For me, yeah.
Yeah. He goes, "I was
If you
good
say
at it."
for this family one more time, no, I did it for me.
He's like, "No, I did it for me."
Yeah,
you know,
fuck
and that
you.
was kind of like the moment where you're like, "Oh shit."
He's changed.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
And then he had that final plan.
His ascent to madness is what's captivating.
Yeah.
Yes.
His baby step, and then like his leaps that he takes, and then you finally by the end of the series, you're like, damn, where he's at from where he started.
Yeah.
And then you can see every season how it developed. That's what gets you into
It's fun
a
to watch
show.
people change.
Yeah.
It is fun to watch people change that flip.
And it's satisfying.
And even Jesse changed. Jesse kind of went from being like this moron kind of dopey guy
Yeah.
to being someone who really cared for kids.
He almost
and,
had
like,
more of a business
guilt.
acumen than Walt did at the end of the show. Like
And he could cook that shit,
he
right?
really
He
could.
could cook
Yeah.
that shit, right? Too.
fucking-
I remember when he hit those numbers, and like that's such an intense scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, cook that meth, bro. Like
Yeah.
you fucking cook them drugs, dude. Hell yeah.
I was pumped about that because he was like, "Hey, it's called a cook because it's a recipe.
Yeah.
Fuck your chemistry. Give me the ingredients and I'll figure this.
That was a wild. That was a wild.
It had
series.
that catchphrase, bitch. Jesse saying, "Come on,
Yeah.
bitch. Yeah, bitch." I like that dude's voice.
He does the voice
fan
for
of that
Todd.
actor.
He does the voice for Todd in BoJack Horseman.
right.
If you haven't seen BoJack
I
Horseman,
watched season 1 and liked it a lot.
I love
on board
BoJack,
with that
and
one.
he does Todd, his weird roommate.
Yeah.
He's
All right, let's
gonna
do a
be-
shot real quick. We're
Yeah.
gonna do a shot of. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, he's going to be in Westworld, the new season of Westworld too.
Oh, nice.
Aaron
Never
Paul.
seen it.
All right. This is to. I'm gonna do this one to showrunners in general because damn it is hard to wrap up a series because
Yeah.
there's only been like 4 or 5 good series finales ever. So
Ever.
to those guys, you got a tough task.
Saludos.
All right, nice. That's a
I
Michael
like that
Collins
you gave
whiskey.
me the skeleton one
Well, because this is clearly a bigger shot
to
glass.
fit. The
Oh, nice. We got a Wrigley Field shot glass, dude. I like that.
Oh yeah, baby.
That's some good. That's some good.
You like
Some
that? It's
good
Michael
drink
Collins
you
whiskey.
drank.
We should get them to sponsor
Michael
this podcast.
Is that a dude? Does he play drums?
Michael, is
Is that the guy? Tudum, 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 tsh, tsh.
He's not
That's
the
you
drummer
just
for,
falling down the stairs in my house.
I like to think I fall with a certain flair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Michael Collins was an Irish freedom fighter.
All right.
He's a patriot who fought the
Patriota.
British and basically was like one of the pioneers in the IRA.
Oh, all right.
Irish Republican
Well, I hope I'm
Army.
supporting some sort of
I like to
angry
think the
Irish
money goes
man.
towards
right. I
the
feel like there's
cause.
like somewhere.
Some revolutionary.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised that they've been peaceful since 1998. They made a peace accord in 98.
Oh,
and
for
there's
now,
been
wait
shit
till this
since.
Brexit shit.
Actually, some people thought the Brexit would restart some stuff like that, maybe, perhaps. Anyway, though, what other TV shows, James? Any other TV shows off the top of your head that did their finale right?
No.
I actually liked the. Do you guys ever watch How I Met Your Mother? I liked the finale to that.
A lot of people
No.
didn't.
A lot of people didn't. Most people hated it.
I heard that
and
they
I liked
actually
it.
filmed the last episode like first.
They
like
filmed the last scenes first.
the last scenes first, which is out of this
The
world.
writers knew how it was going to end.
Yeah,
and
but
they
how you
did-
know you're not gonna
they
get
did
canceled?
9 seasons. I know that's what's crazy.
That's a
you got to give them a lot of
such
credit.
a huge risk.
They gambled and it paid off. They knew what they had. For those of you who didn't watch How I Met Your Mother, the brilliance of the show was there's a narrator and it's Bob Saget, which by the way, how fucking rich. You look up Bob Saget's
Saget
net
is the
worth.
Yeah, I'll
most
look 'em up.
unlikely success
Dude, because
story in comedy.
When you have syndication money like that, when your show goes into
Yeah.
reruns, which Full House
Yeah.
reruns still air all the time.
Is he on
Home-
Fuller House?
He did a few of that, yeah. Well, wait 1 second. I'm gonna do his credits real quick. It's insane how much money Bob Saget has.
Yeah.
It's really nuts. And remember when he was people who followed the show Entourage? He was in a few episodes
Yeah.
of that, and he would joke about how rich he is. And be
He
like,
was
"Bob
in,
Saget?"
in the weed one, right?
Oh, was he in Weeds? Maybe he did like a few things.
No,
here
that
or
was
there.
Kevin Nealon.
That's Kevin Nealon. Yeah, they're
my-
both
my-
gangly,
my-
tall guys.
Yeah,
I get
white
it.
dudes is my yeah.
And yeah, we're all the same. And so Full House reruns of that still air.
Right.
America's Funniest Videos.
Does that still run?
Yeah, they still show reruns of that.
Hell
And even
yeah.
so, he did like
Hell
7 seasons of
yeah.
the host of that and numerous episodes, and they
Hell
reran
yeah.
that.
I love Bob
and How I
Saget.
Met Your Mother did 9 seasons, and he's the voice of that show. He's
You
the
know how much
narrator.
you get paid just to sit there and talk?
Voiceover works the best.
Dude,
I've never done it, but I would love to.
I would imagine that just is boku cash for
I remember
such
talking to
little work.
TJ Miller after he did How to Train Your Dragon,
Nice.
and him talking about, oh yeah, I just show up in pajamas every day.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. All right, what's Bob Saget's net worth?
Can we guess? Hold on.
Yeah.
Can we guess?
Go ahead and
Go
guess.
I'm gonna go with 85 million.
Joe.
I'm gonna go 220
God
million.
damn.
Well, Tito wins. It's $100 million. But
100 million.
still,
I don't know why I
that's
guess
too
220.
much fucking money.
That's
for a
fuck
comedian.
Time.
You know, I think Dave Grohl is 220 million. I looked that
but
up
name
recently.
a bit, bro.
Well,
Name
no
a
one knows
bit,
him as a
right?
stand-up.
Like, name a bit
I can't.
other than he's used to
He did that
swear
Aristocrats
a
thing.
lot.
Yeah, he was super dirty.
He was a dirty man.
The Aristocrats the only thing I can think of.
But
within
he's
comedy.
does he? I don't know if he has a stand-up special. I know he might have. He might have like one of the early Netflix things, or like maybe like a Showtime special. He might have a stand-up special.
America's
Check
Funniest
that out.
Videos changed my life, man. That shit was great, bro.
Dude, that was the first like meme videos.
yeah,
It-
it was the
history of the
first
world.
viral
Yeah.
thing, and we would sit down as a family and watch.
It was
Yeah.
YouTube videos before YouTube
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
It was,
It was
like.
great. And his voiceover work was absolutely hilarious.
Well,
Like,
I
did he-
worked on they were great. Yeah, I worked on the show Ridiculousness on MTV when I lived in LA. I was a segment producer on a few episodes of that.
Word.
And before that, I worked on Tosh Ponell. And what's funny, as on the set of Tosh, I was just a PA on Tosh. They joked about, oh, Ridiculousness is just a ripoff show. And then other people were like, yeah, but we ripped off America's Funniest Videos
Yeah.
and The Soup. So like
Yeah.
everything kind of derives from something else.
Classic.
I like to say, I wish people would just say I was inspired by it. There's nothing wrong with being inspired by it.
I mean, you're not
That
ripping
inspired
it.
me.
Yeah,
You're not ripping it
ripping it,
off.
bro. You're not ripping it.
Yeah, like totally. I just wish people would say that more, but everyone likes to hate. They're like, no, you stole this from that guy. It's like, no, he didn't steal. He was inspired and he tweaked it
Because
into his
people
own
be
little
on
thing.
that shit. People be on that shit. Oh, if you like that band, you're really listening to this band. Fuck you, bro. Everyone's got a thing.
I know.
And you're not redoing anything.
Nirvana ripped off the Pixies. It's like, no, Nirvana said the Pixies were a big influence. Like, it's not ripping them off.
You know.
And that's like with people throwing around a cultural appropriation. There's some stuff that's definitely cultural appropriating. If you're
Yeah.
like Elvis would just straight up steal music and not give credit to him.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cultural appropriation. But if you're like, oh no, I grew up listening to rap.
this, and this is what I like, and this is
why-
what I like to do.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, man.
It's a melting pot. damn it.
People really like to just be up in their arms about some shit.
They do,
And
yeah.
it's more noticeable. I don't know if it's more noticeable now because of social media, or I'm just getting older and wiser to that shit.
No, it's more noticeable now for sure.
You know, but I'm just like, dude, there's a.
I think it's because of social media.
It's just, people are just mad as fuck. We're about to talk about this shit. It's like motherfuckers just get mad no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. Obama could literally have been saving a puppy. And
Yeah,
Republicans
because
would
you
have
got
been
your
like,
team, I got my. That's how people
Yeah.
go. I'm blue team, you're red team, and no matter
Yeah.
what, like I know people who are so Trump that like if Donald Trump, or even like so like pro cop, right?
Yeah,
I take
look.
everything case by case. A lot of good friends of mine are cops. I think
We
I
went to
do-
school with them.
Yeah, I do think cops get a bad rap overall. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of good ones. I think the bad ones obviously need to be called out more, like any
course.
profession, really.
Everybody.
But it's funny to me that I know people who are so pro cop though that you'll see a video where it's like, oh, that cop clearly fucked up,
Yeah.
but they'll be like, well, hold on, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
agree.
dude, a cop
I agree.
could bang your wife in front
I
of you.
agree.
You'd be like, well, they're just trying to.
I
They gotta
agree.
get home to their family.
There's
They might have banged my wife in front of me against her
there's-
own will, but they gotta get home to their family. It's a dangerous job. It's like, dude,
You don't know what they do every day, all right?
dude.
You don't know what they're putting on the
you
line.
try to do it.
You're like, bro. I got into it with one guy I went to school with, college. He was a very good guy, and it was the Tamir Rice thing.
Oh yeah.
And Tamir Rice, if you don't know, is a 12-year-old black kid who someone called the cops, say they saw him with a gun. He had a toy gun. Cops pulled up, didn't say freeze, didn't say nothing, shot him twice,
Yeah,
killed him.
in a park.
And
Cleveland,
I posted on how that was such a tragedy, and I can't believe, like, you really, there's no sides to pick in this. And my buddy's like, well, a toy gun should have an orange clip on the top so that it's completely justified. And I was like, he's 12. He
Yeah.
has a mother. This is clearly
Why? Yeah. Why couldn't
This
they have
is
pulled up and then gotten out of the
clearly-
car and be like, drop the weapon from like 30 yards
this is
out?
clearly
That's safe?
just a misunderstanding on all parts.
Yeah.
And there's just no give in that. When people go like that, especially with cops, I don't even need to talk to them anymore. I'm like, oh, that's where we are.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, that's that. No, and I don't disagree with you for doing that
Bye.
because it's a tragedy. A tragedy is a
A
tragedy.
tragedy's a tragedy.
Right? Yeah.
Tragedy
You
is a
know.
tragedy.
I just don't know why some of them just don't say, oh yeah, that officer
Because
fucked up.
I feel like it represents
It's unfortunate.
a
It happened.
much bigger thing. It represents authority. It represents the right
Power.
the right people that mean well.
Yes.
People that mean well-meaningness, and those that are being arrested are not. And there's like this dichotomy of all of that. And I think that by aligning so hard with them and firemen and servicemen or whatever, that's kind of like drawing a very.
But they
interesting
never band together
line.
with garbage men, which is really a tragedy.
The real heroes.
The real heroes are garbage
Yo,
men.
the garbage men are the real
They're
ones.
the most
They're
important.
the real ones.
They're the most important city
Yeah.
workers are garbage men
How
because
you
before,
think that mattress in your yard disappeared?
well, those were dudes trying to flip some
Those
money
are just the
there.
Mexicans
But-
sticking out.
Yeah, let's be honest. But no, before garbage men, there was disease everywhere.
Plague,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, plague and stuff like that. And they were like, we need people to take this garbage and put it somewhere else. So I think they're the number one of all the city servants. Because like
I agree. We should
firemen-
start a-
look,
we should start
firemen
a
are brave
club.
as hell, obviously, but there aren't that many fires anymore because of technology's gotten better. It used to be, I plugged two things in at the
Yeah.
same time, and my whole house lit up. It's not really like
You're
that
a
anymore.
fireman, bro.
And cops, as much as we just gave them respect, they show up after the crime happened. you
yeah,
know,
right.
like-
Where were you 10 minutes ago?
so look out for your garbage men, people. Although I'll say this, the garbage men on my block, if you put my cans in front of my fucking gate one more time, in which when I open the gate, the can has no choice but to fall over, I'm going to take a dump and put it on top of the lid.
They
I'm taking a dump on top of the fucking lid if you guys do this shit again.
Dude, I've actually stood on my porch to see what they do because I have like a garage and I have 4 garbage cans. We have a 3 flat, and then they take the garbage cans, they dump them, and then they just put them in front of the garage gate, like the door of. So every time I like open it, there's 4 fucking garbage cans right there, like every Wednesday morning, and I'm like. You inconsiderate.
I know they look. I know they just want to get through that job as
Yeah,
quickly
I
as
get
possible.
it.
So you go to the bar, but come on, guys.
You're blocking cars.
Move
People
it over
live
a
here,
little.
man.
Yeah,
good
that's
Lord.
my only complaint. But I agree with you, bro. They do the Lord's work. They
Yeah,
do.
man. I get the banding it together and all that stuff, but let's stick to TV here for a second.
Yes, I bet.
Yeah.
No, I want to. It's my own thing too. That's bar talk, right? You bounce around.
Yeah.
As far as series finales that pissed me off a lot, Dexter was a terrible one.
Dexter, yeah, Dexter, I agree with you.
I like the Burn Notice one and the Justified ones. Those were pretty decent. If you
Are
watch
you a
those
fan
shows.
of American Horror Story? No.
I haven't watched a single.
I watched one season.
I got into it for a
and
second.
it was pretty good.
I
But
got
the
into
ending
it
was
for a
weird.
second.
Yeah.
I fell off after one season where there was such a weird far off theme. Every season is different, same characters,
Yeah.
but it just I think it was like season 5. Adam Levine was in it or some shit. I don't know. He was like in the first episode, and it was wild. But it was one of those seasons where I'm like, dude, I'm almost done with this damn season. Just finish it out, right? Like the Indy 500. You got like 20 laps. Just finish the race, bro.
And then someone crashes, and then you got to stop the race for 2 hours.
You gotta get the pace guy in there.
Yeah, it's definitely it's hard to do. Here's the thing. So I watch Game of Thrones, everyone, like I mentioned earlier. I binged the shit out of that show to
Yeah,
a point where people are like, dude, you can't watch that type
There's
of
no
show
way.
like that. And I'll admit, like episode 9 of season 3, Red Wedding it's called.
Yep.
When
Season
when
5?
it was season 3.
Season 3.
When the mother Stark and then
Yeah,
Rob
yeah, yeah.
Stark
Catelyn and Rob.
Catherine and Rob.
and her wife, he married that woman, and they 3 minutes before that scene or 2 minutes before that scene, him and his wife are dancing. Right, and you love Rob. There's nothing to not like about
Nope.
Rob Stark. He's great, and his
He was
wife
the
is
future.
fantastic.
He was the
Awesome. He's the
future.
future, the new king of the North.
He's the future.
And she says to him, "I'm pregnant." He's like, "Oh, do you know if it's a boy?" He's like, "I don't, but if it's a boy, why don't we name it Ned after your dad, who's beheaded, who broke your hearts in season 1?" Everybody, right? And then he has this face lit up where it's like, "Wouldn't you like to teach him how to ride or whatever?" And you're thinking, "Oh, this is so damn sweet." 90 seconds later, all of a sudden a guy comes up from behind and starts stabbing her in the stomach. So they must have known she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And it happens so quickly as a viewer, you're like, what the fuck?
It's-
Rob was like, what the fuck? Like, holy, and it was like, and then he gets fucked up, and then the wife tries to make the last stand by being like, let me go, let
Nah.
Rob go. or I'm
Catelyn
gonna
takes
cut
a
her.
dude out.
After they killed Rob, she's just like, fuck you, and then like took her out the
Yeah.
throat out.
Yeah.
Which I like. If
Which
you're
was
going down,
insane.
if you're
Which
going
was
down, go down
insane.
cutting. You
Go
know?
down cutting.
I would go down cutting.
She's a fucking wolf. She
That's
goes
a
for the
T-shirt.
throat.
That's a T-shirt. If you can go down.
So
go
what do
down
you
cutting.
We talked earlier about the Walter White character arc. What do you think about Danny's character arc?
I never liked
Daenerys.
Danny.
I don't get the
I
people who never
fucking
liked her. I don't
Danny.
get that.
I'm on fucking record, especially with my sister. We used to
Why?
get
How did you
fucking
never
fights.
like her? And you, James,
Because
too.
I
don't get
didn't
it.
buy the hype. I didn't buy the hype.
Thank you.
I just never bought the hype.
Why not?
Season 1, whatever. She's just like this. I'm just an innocent little girl. I'm just like an innocent little girl. Okay, I'm just like whatever. And then she gets sold to this dude, this gigantic fucking beast.
Aquaman. She got sold to Aquaman.
She got slammed by Aquaman. And then she's like, well, I'm going to learn their language. I'm going to do this. And, like, her brother needed to be killed. And she just kind of, like, let him do his thing. And then when he died, she just looked at him like, well, that was that.
Well, she
And
had to find out if he was for real.
Yeah. And I was like, this chick, I never just trusted how she was, like, I don't know. Once she got the dragons, that's all she was. She wasn't very strategic. She wasn't a good politician. She didn't know how to appease to people. She didn't know balance of power, and she just fucking muscled it in. And I was like, this chick's gonna lose her shit, and she's gonna die.
No, I felt like her plot line was doomed because, yeah, she was kind of bad strategically. But then other people were like, well, that's not how you do things. I'm like, I love how in our society of don't even talk to people who disagree with you anymore, we are now saying, well, she should have worked things out with slave owners a little bit better. I mean, what the fuck? No, I'm glad she said fuck off. She should have killed them all instantly.
She brought fire
her
with
problem
fire.
was
She fought fire with fire.
Her it reminded me of the United States with Iraq. Once we killed Saddam, we should have said, all right, we're out, and left.
Yeah,
you guys, here's your
we're done.
country. Figure it out. Set up your own whatever form of government you want. Go for it. We had to take that piece of shit out because he was a piece of shit. And there you go. Don't elect another piece of shit who's fucking up the rest of the world, because then we will step in again. that part of U.S. foreign policy, I'm not exactly against. I'm not against.
So,
you're slaughtering your own people and slaughtering other people. Yeah, we're gonna come in and cut you.
dude, my
cut you
sister,
down, right?
my sister gets so mad at me.
She
She's
should have bounced out of those
she's like,
cities after
Danny's so strong. She's so strong. She can do this. She learned the language. She did that, and she's gonna free. She's the mother of dragons. She's Khaleesi.
She's the unburnt.
And my sister's all pro feminine power and energy. So I know her angle from the
Yeah.
get go. So I was trolling to begin with, and I was just like, do you realize like her whole council is a bunch of dudes that stop her from doing the dumbest shit? Like, do you realize this is your girl? And she's like, no. And I was like, no, you got to see through the bullshit. I was like, this chick is not good. And then finally, I had my redemption. She just texted me back. She's like, you're right this whole time. And I was like, I know a crazy bitch when I
You
see
were
one.
right the
I know
whole
a
time.
crazy bitch when I see one.
I don't know.
doubt.
I was Team Danny through about season 6-ish.
Yeah.
It became clear that she was hell bent on the throne, and that was all that mattered to her.
That too. That
right?
too. That too.
I think what killed me about her was she never. I don't know why, and she did have a good counsel. I liked that her counsel.
She had the
was-
best counsel in the
she
show.
had a great counsel.
Yeah, best you
You
got.
know, Marmot was great. That older dude.
Sebastian Selmy,
Yeah.
Tyrion Lannister.
Varys.
Well, who's
Once
the
Varys joined the team, I was
I'll
like,
be honest,
ooh,
though,
they're gonna do
dude,
this.
NBA All-Stars.
Varys might have been my least favorite character on the fucking show.
Really?
Because why did they let him stick around? He would always be like, I want to do that. He never gave great advice.
Yeah,
His
he
advice
did.
was shit.
He served the realm, dog.
He was so dope. What I just find so funny is how much they trolled him for,
How did he
for
even get to
fucking
power?
little kids. You remember? Like, at the beginning of the show, they're like, we heard about the children. So what did you hear about the thing? You're like, yeah, you're just gonna blow over that?
So Varys used to fuck kids.
he was
No.
Oh no.
not fuck kids.
They
but
would
he
make
was-
fun of him.
Yeah, because he had all these little kids and shit.
Well, he
as
was
his
he
little
had-
whispers.
He got his balls and dick cut off.
He did.
Which
And-
there was a lot of that in the show.
But they would
Lot of
the
eunuchs.
first 2 seasons. If you watch, they would make fun of him and his liking of children a lot in the beginning.
Yeah, I remember.
It was hilarious.
Dude, I watched so much of it, so a lot of it's fresh to me. I remember someone saying, what about when Danny burned that one woman? Didn't you realize she was bad then? I'm like, that woman cost her baby and her fucking husband.
Yeah.
She deserved to get burned, that
Yeah.
witch
Okay,
lady. I was
so,
for that.
hold on
Why
now.
would you be against that?
Hold on. Okay, so look at that woman from the perspective everyone looked at Danny with. That woman's entire village was raped and murdered.
True.
Wouldn't you want to take out the person who did that? That's the whole narrative that Danny was running with for the whole show. So it's all about perspective. If you want to look at Danny as this big savior who got everything taken from her, great. That's what happened. But she did everything wrong with the power that she had.
100. Nailed
And she tricked all of us into liking her.
Because
Just
those
like
fucking nipples, man. They're perfect.
She has very nice nips. But she also used, her dragons to, when you see something powerful,
the dragons were the great equalizer, though.
Yeah.
That was like having a nuke back then.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if
100.
you see someone with a nuke, you're going to listen to what they have to say and
Yeah.
probably do what they have to say, even if they're like not being nice about it.
I just don't get how I've heard some people like Cersei better than fucking Danny. How in the
Yeah.
hell could anyone look, Danny was evil,
I
shit,
like
and I was
Sansa.
glad she got what came
I
in
like
her way.
Sansa a lot more than any other.
And Sansa got the end that
So
everyone
she got the
wanted
satisfaction.
Danny to
I got
have.
a very satisfied ending with her.
Sansa also went through everything Danny went through.
Yep.
And came out better than
Yep.
Danny did. And she had the power. She had the love and respect of the North. She had a family around her, which I guess Danny didn't have. Danny had to make her own family. But Sansa
of course.
came out ahead and didn't
Yeah.
fucking murder a whole bunch of people. And if she had dragons, I guarantee you she wouldn't have. I promise you she wouldn't have.
But Sansa just wanted to be a queen. Danny wanted the 7
I just feel like,
kingdoms. And was hell bent on it.
but
It's
without
not even-
Danny, Sansa doesn't get her way.
It's not
you
even-
you needed Danny to do all that crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, necessarily.
Cersei was leaving the North alone. Cersei didn't give a fuck about the North.
Not that's not. She was going to go
No,
after.
she's
She
gonna go
hated the
after.
Starks.
She's gonna go
There was
after.
no way she put a bounty out on Sansa. There was no way
Yeah,
she was
she's
going to let
gonna-
her just be free in the North.
Yo, Cersei
They were
was
gonna
gonna
go
after
after the
everybody.
North.
The North had armies enough to.
They were depleted after.
deal
That's why
with the
she.
Golden Company.
That's why they came. That's why they didn't go against the fucking.
Oh yeah, that's right, because the dead people.
Yeah,
Um,
they weren't going to go against the
yeah,
fucking.
she probably could've
White
taken
As
Walkers.
characters goes, though, I enjoyed Cersei a lot. Hearst,
I mean,
the
she was
Lena,
a boss,
Lena,
but she was
whatever her
she was
name
great.
is.
Everyone was great at acting in the entire show.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Was
saying.
there a single bad actor in the show? I don't even think
No,
so.
not one.
I can't even think. You know,
Lena
No.
Headey is a great
Yeah, Lena.
fucking actor.
Dude,
was great.
her just presence on
and
the
Emily
screen.
Clark or whatever her name
Emily
is, who plays
Clark,
Danny, was
Emily
great.
Clark. Yeah, the whole cast and crew, like, big ups to. I don't know shit about production. I don't know shit about like what it takes to film an episode in like 7 to 8 days with like 4 a.m. wake up calls or whatever. Right? That's what I'm assuming.
No, it is.
you
No,
know?
it is. Oh yeah, for
Right?
sure.
And so these people put in that work and produced the top notch that they can of their craft. I think it was just an
Yeah,
enjoyable.
to me, it's
visually experience.
even with the bad final season, which was clearly rushed. Season
Yeah.
8 should have been all about fighting the Nightwalkers, or the
it
the
should
White
have
Walkers.
been 10. They wanted
They
HBO
wanted 10,
wanted
but they went to 6 because D&D were like, "Fuck this, we're tired."
Yeah,
of doing it."
because the guys who were running it struck the Star Wars deal.
Yep.
They got
Yeah.
that Star Wars deal, and
Fucking
HBO should have said, you know what,
bounce.
though?
No.
Let's wait.
Yeah.
Because they've waited before on series.
Yeah, we waited
Sopranos
2
had-
years.
Sopranos had 2 years in between seasons.
Yeah, we had
sometimes.
2 years
2.5,
for this
like,
one.
That's crazy.
They could have waited and got it done right, and they could have waited for the release of the books. But I've listened to enough stuff where those books have actually been done for a while.
What?
Yeah. The thing is,
They were waiting for this.
They're waiting for this because guess what? When the publishing company did this, and that's actually a really smart.
Like
move
a
on
case
publishing
study
company.
to see what they would want.
Well, no, they're done already. So
Okay.
what's happening is going to whatever's written is written.
Is written?
And It
Okay.
was written before this season came out. The publishing company said, "Listen, dude, this show is a cultural phenomenon. Let's have the books come out after the show's done because people are gonna be thirsting for more.
Fuck
They're gonna
yeah.
want to know your take.
Fuck yeah.
Right? So we're gonna
That's
wait.
gonna be
those
fucking,
books are gonna. There's gonna be.
They're just
They're
gonna
gonna
be
sell out. It's gonna be one of those things.
absorbed.
The day those hit stores, if you don't catch one, you're not catching.
And they're not
one.
gonna be little ass books. This ain't no Goosebumps, motherfucker. This
No,
ain't no.
people-
this
people
ain't
are
no
gonna want
Goo-
the hard copy.
This ain't no Goosebumps, G. This shit is like Bible thick, bro.
Yeah.
My friend read these books. I'm like, what?
I want to read one. I want to go back
I
and read the
can't.
original,
I
even though
can't.
a lot of it'll be kind of spoiled because I saw the show.
I can't.
George R. R. Martin came out yesterday and said Game of Thrones books by summer of 2020 or imprison
or
me.
imprison me.
Yeah, are you ready?
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Martin. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, if they're
bro.
already done, they're coming out.
Yeah, he ain't done, bro.
Dude,
That's
some
what
of those deaths were so hard. There was times throughout the show where I'm
Would you like Clegane Bowl?
Cool Game Bowl is great.
Did you like the Clegane Bowl?
What's that one?
That was
Hound versus the Mountain?
yeah, the
Oh,
mountain.
the Viper versus the Mountain.
Hound versus
Oh, the
Viper.
Hound versus the Mountain at the end.
Yeah.
Viper.
Yeah. No,
That
the Red
was-
Viper. Remember the Red Viper one? That was brutal
yeah,
to
yeah.
watch.
No,
he was
but-
trying to get revenge for his sister who was raped and murdered, and her kids
Oh,
were murdered
oh, dude.
by the
Yeah,
mountain.
Oberyn.
That
There's-
was a gnarly. That was my favorite fight of the whole thing.
He was a badass with that fucking staff bow or
He was
whatever.
a dumbass wasting
He's a
time.
dumbass. He's like,
wasting
say it.
time.
Don't
Showboat.
say it. Kill that motherfucker, dude.
Showboat.
Yo, that's what.
That was hard to watch because you're like, you idiot. You had him.
Yep.
Because everyone roots for the guy who's trying to get revenge for them, you know?
That's why you don't teabag, dude. You
Yeah,
gotta
man.
fucking-
Nah. No,
you gotta back
no.
up.
No, you don't take no victory lap.
That's why if you ever watch UFC, the guy throws the knockout punch and he jumps on and gets a couple more of those hammer punches because you never know. You think you got the knockout and the guy gets
Nope.
up.
Yeah.
That's why they throw those. 'Cause
Yeah.
No, but I thought the fight was a little cheesy. You know what I'm saying? Like the dragon in the back and the tower
yeah.
falling, and I'm like, can this be a little more Disney-fied? I just
people
thought-
felt like it got Disney
and then-
fied. That's what they said, yeah.
The mountains on top. He's already on top. I got the higher ground. Like, come on, man.
That's awesome.
All right.
That's what you want.
And then he stabs him in the eye, and the guy's like,
You want to talk about giving the
Stab him
fans
in the
what
head,
they
stab him
want?
through the heart, and
I want to see a dragon flying around the two biggest dudes fighting each other. That's what I want.
That part of I was cool with that. There was
"Damn, if I had some
aspects.
mushrooms, bro,
There was
that's-
aspects of the final season that were
Well.
really, really good. Like I liked Arya getting that shot in on him, although you really wanted Jon Snow to get that and then catching it.
Yeah.
I liked Arya as a character a lot. I was a big fan of her. Jon Snow obviously was amazing.
Snow didn't fight anybody big.
They wasted Jon.
They wasted his entire
He
character.
killed Daenerys, and that's it. Like,
But not even his like. If you look at the scene, you don't really see his like hands move or nothing.
You feel though he's.
and
yeah.
like
You hear the
he
noise,
stabbed
that's
her
it.
up here. You just hear.
You mean they wasted Jon Snow at the end, or
They
during?
just wasted this whole season. They didn't have any
Yeah,
like
I mean-
like real big battles. I would have liked to see one of the generals of the army
because
of
it was
the
rushed.
dead
They rushed it. That's
to,
why.
to come and like get off the horse and fight like John, and that's why John couldn't get to the Night King.
Yeah.
Because the Night King was like, handle this motherfucker, like Suge Knight and shit. This Suge Knight, the Night King.
The
Get
Suge
it?
Knight.
It's one
They
conspiracy,
rushed too
bro.
much shit,
Yeah,
dude.
they rushed the entire
That
thing.
whole season 8 should have been about the Night King and the Daywalkers. Then season 9 should have been Danny rises to power, and a season 10 should have been Danny versus Jon Snow.
Yeah, that would have been.
And Jon Snow should have sat on the throne at the fucking end. And I know some people were saying, "Oh, it was actually brilliant because think about it. The show's about the Starks, and at the end of the show, the Starks rule everything.
Yeah.
You got fucking Bran, the most boring character of all time,
That
having
was
the Six
fucking
Kingdoms.
terrible. That
And
was
then you
fucking
have
terrible.
Sansa, a Queen of the North. Arya is just going to become Magellan, apparently.
She's
and
just
then,
a fucking,
yeah.
she's just a
and
fucking
then Jon
ninja.
Snow
She's
controls
just
the
a
wildlings.
ninja.
Or the free people, whatever you
Yeah,
want to call them.
yeah.
But the wildlings are boring now because they don't have any giants. The giants were the shit. I was so
I'm
bummed.
sure they'll find
They'll
a giant.
gotta find a couple
They'll-
giants.
a
up there.
giant will come back. I feel
I
like
hope
that's
so.
not magic. That's just the world that they
Yeah.
live in. You know.
They're hiding in a cave somewhere.
Yeah, they'll find it. I think the wildling. That's what's funny. Like when they sent. Can we talk? We're gonna talk.
We talk about everything. I've already told
'cause I
people
don't
turn
like
it off
spoil-
if you.
Yeah.
This isn't spoiler. We've
when
already
they
spoiled
send
everything. by the
Jon
way.
Snow to the north, they're like, you're gonna go back to the fucking wall.
That broke me.
and you're not gonna take no titles, no kids, no nothing. And I'm like, dude, the wildlings are cool when there's no more dead folks. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
I hope
Where
he
you
has 9
sending
kids.
him, bro?
Like why would? How could they control him
You
having
giving
kids?
him a retirement?
The
Okay.
only, well, I mean, they had to.
Oh, because the Unsullied are upset. A bunch of dickless nerds are pissed
Yeah.
off.
those dickless nerds will kill you.
I know they're well,
They
'cause
were
they don't have a
dope.
dick. If you don't have
They
a dick,
were-
all you could do is kill.
Yeah.
Dude, if I didn't have a dick, you know how much things I would get done?
I
you
don't-
know
I
what I'm
would-
saying?
Yeah,
if I
but
didn't have a
yeah,
dick,
if
I
you
would
didn't have
have
a-
like 10 of these.
Yeah, but everybody would be telling you how much it sucks not having a dick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's where it's
I mean,
bad.
I would cry a lot, but you know, I'd still get shit done.
You know, Grey Worm I liked, but then I get Grey Worm's anger. They beheaded his fucking woman.
Yeah.
That was the thing with fucking
Yeah.
Danny. She couldn't get over the fact because they were like, they killed one of my dragons and beheaded my best friend, and they're like, yeah, and you burned a city for it.
They
It
didn't.
reminded me of there was sorry, real quick on the show,
Go
The
ahead.
West Wing, one of the first seasons. The president, his like doctor, who's a military doctor, got shot down. A plane got shot down. He was on that plane, and so President Bartlett, played by Martin Sheen in The West Wing, was like, "I'm going to rain down on these people like
Right.
they've never seen. I'm going to blow them all the fuck up." And then the generals finally had to be like, "That's a $50,000 punishment for a 10-cent crime." Like
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it sucks your guy died, but that's just not how the world works. You can't come back at them this way,
Yeah.
and that's what Danny never learned. She's like,
'Cause
you
she
you,
never
you,
learned.
Yeah, because it's like
she never fucking learned a thing.
well,
bro.
her
They
counsel,
never learned no
should have
fucking
told her.
thing.
Nope.
Her counsel should
All
have
that
said in
inbreeding,
war.
bro. She's like autistic or some shit, bro. She just never got it. She's like, I got dragons, na 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 na. And you're like, that doesn't mean shit.
And
Dragons and tits will get you very far, man.
That's the
Dragons,
point.
dragons and titties, dragons
You
and
don't
titties.
That's how
have
the
to
that's how the
learn.
show goes. Dragons
You
and
don't have to
titties,
learn
you-
anything if you are handed power, absolute power.
That's true.
You just get to be powerful.
But did she really get handed it, or did she
No.
got it by being like,
she
I?
literally got handed a
Yeah.
chest with dragon eggs in it. Yes.
Yeah,
that
by,
part she
by
got
ma-
handed.
by marrying Khal Drago.
But-
she just like
She's Hillary Clinton.
Just
She's
like
Hillary
leveled
Clinton, is
up.
what you're saying.
She took the level
She
4
married
warp
into it?
pipe immediately.
Yeah. She
Like, yeah.
yeah. Daddy got handed
But
a
she
little
survived
bit.
fire. She can't be burned. That's what made people be like, oh fuck, I'm gonna
What-
follow her.
What makes
She
it
could ride a dragon and can't be burned. You're gonna follow that
What
shit.
makes that interesting is it wasn't that she was handed to, is that she had to learn the language. She had to be them. So you see her like really like become this like leader type
Yeah.
person through
I liked
it.
you when she was freeing the
And
slaves. I thought that was great.
I mean, I'm brown. We dig blondes, right? Like we gonna let
Everybody digs blondes. That's not.
It'll just
You don't
play.
like blondes?
No.
I'll just play.
You have a type? I don't have a type. I like
You
everything.
have a type.
I like brown hair and blue eyes.
I'm
My
more.
wife
I'm
has
a
that.
Masande, whatever her
Me
name.
too. I
That's
like-
my type.
I
That's
It's
like
the same hair
not-
as you.
Yeah,
You have the
yeah,
same exact hair curls.
I had a picture of me in the gym with the hair pulled back and like this black workout shirt, and then I have a me and her and a poll of who wore it better,
Oh, that's funny.
and I
She
fucking she won 16 to 15 votes.
Wow,
it came
it's
down to
funny.
the it came down to
That's
the
your-
clutch, bro.
That's some people humoring you.
Yeah. Oh, but she's my girl, man. She's
Yeah.
my girl.
All right, well, let's talk about Bran real quick here. I want to try to get through some of the characters. Yeah, Bran, here's what killed me about Bran. Look, the three-eyed raven story angle was interesting and
Very
cool, right?
cool.
And again, a lot of this was probably because of the rushing, but this part wasn't because of the rushing. Think about that girl that was also like Bran's age. She was like, what, 13, who helped him through that. She lost her brother.
Oh, the brother, yeah, who's also like a ward.
Yeah, and that scene when she's like, I'm going to go back to my people, he was like, okay.
Yeah,
And she's like,
he was like,
that's fucking it?
all right, later, bitch.
He didn't even say that. That would have been emotion at
That would
least.
have been hilarious.
If he would have said later, bitch, it would have been emotion at least. But he was just like, okay, you do what you have to do now. Like, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she was even like, we went through all of that craziness together, and you're just like, Bye.
Peace.
Yeah,
What
that was.
would you like me to
That
say?
was
Like,
so.
I'm
such
not a
a
Stark anymore. I'm not a this. He was like so distant. Even when fucking Jon Snow comes back and sees him there alive, and Jon gives him a big hug, he barely hugs back.
Yeah.
And Arya was like, "Oh fuck, dude, we're brother and sister. I haven't seen you in fucking years. I thought you were dead. You thought I was dead. Here we are. Isn't this great?" Yeah, like that should all of those. Well, not with Bran. I guess with the other ones it was. Like when Jon Snow saw Sansa, gave her a huge hug. Arya, same thing. That was Christmas morning. Every one of those should have been Christmas morning. With Bran, it was just like, I'm here now. Like it was.
But he's not Bran.
I feel like he
Yeah,
just.
well, fuck that dude. I get that, but I can still hate you as a character.
Bran
You guys hate Dany for reasons. I could hate Bran for being boring and like just not being there.
Brad reminds me of the guy that was like a pretty normal kid, and then he like did a lot of acid over like a weekend, and then he just came back.
Yeah, but that kid gets to
and
fade.
then they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "I don't know." Whatever, man.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
hear you.
"Oh,
That kid gets to
dude."
fade away. That kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't know. Were you cool with Bran ending up with the kingdoms at the end?
Dude, he can warg into a dragon. Yes.
We didn't see any of that shit though.
He talked about doing it.
Oh,
He said, He said, I'll
oh.
find Drogo.
I've talked about doing a lot of shit. No one gives a fuck.
I'm not happy we didn't get to see it, but like, okay, like
I loved it, but be interesting, dude. If you're gonna do that, you could also be interesting.
Dude, if you're
It
gonna
just wasn't
peace out,
interesting.
if you're gonna peace out right before your family is about to fight the dead, and you're like, "Oh, it's my time to go now," and then he just dips, and then you do nothing. You don't get a raven and just start picking the motherfucker. You don't do anything.
well, he's resigned himself to the fact that he can't beat the Night King. He's a fucking cripple, dog. Like,
Well,
there's no way.
It was
he
also
can
annoying
win.
where he's like, I don't want this, I don't want that, and then later it's like, that's why I came here. To be
Yeah,
king.
that line, I was like, we could have done without that line.
What killed me too
Yeah.
was, and again, I love like the show is phenomenal. It was so well written, like I said, that it kept me watching in the frantic pattern in which I watched because I didn't want anything spoiled. But it was a hard watch. There were times where I'm like, look, this is brilliant writing, but I don't like this. I don't like watching babies get killed. I don't like
Yeah.
watching rape constantly. I don't like.
I could understand. That's
What
why
is it about the culture that we live in where everyone's like, no to rape culture, and yet the same people who say that favorite shows are Game of Thrones and Law and Order SVU.
Oh, it's fake.
What is that?
It's fake.
It's fake, bro. It's not.
That's not real.